TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And I want to let you know that the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscape. Over 2 million men worldwide have joined the movement for all their below-the-waist needs. Engineers for the last 18 months have perfected the greatest hair trimmer ever created, the Lawnmower 3.0. The third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. You can choose the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other items by going to manscaped.com, and you can also save 20% by using the promo code State of Saints. That's manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints and save 20% on the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you all so much for tuning in to the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And we have a special guest here on the State of the Saints podcast. We have former New Orleans Saints quarterback, the Cajun Cannon, Bobby Hebert. Bobby, what's going on?
All right, TJ, and you also got to mention the founding father of the Who Dat Nation.
Of course, the founding father of the Who Dat Nation as well.
I don't know if I ever told you that story, but but when you reflect back, a lot has happened since Hurricane Katrina, and that was Sean Payton and Drew Brees' first year in 2006, and it was December the 10th, right after Pearl Harbor. That's why I always remember December the 10th, 2006 is really when the term Who Dat Nation was spoken. Who Dat was spoken before, but I tell you what, we did the post game. We waxed the Cowgirls. We waxed Dallas on the road. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was like 40-17. The bottom line, that's when Corny, our fullback, he scored 3 touchdowns. That's how good it was going. We did on the post game show up until we almost could have been early in the morning to stay on WWL. We did a post-game show till like 3 in the morning. And, well, you know the big single of WWL, how powerful it is. You can hear it in the Carolinas, in the fall when the time changes and it's dark. And, well, we had people calling us from all over that were displaced because of Katrina, whether it was like Virginia, Carolina, Missouri. He said, boy, it's great to hear your voice and all out there. And he said, boy, what a convincing win. Boy, it seems like Coach Payton, he's really turned things around, and we were hoping Drew Brees would be that guy. Remember that was the season they made the NFC Championship against the Bears. But with all the positive energy going out, I said, man, there's a Who Dat Nation out there. Yeah. And I tell you what, we really grasped onto it because the Saints have always been a blue-collar team. That's all we say. How can you not cheer for a team like the Saints? Be very simple. How can you cheer against the Cleveland Browns?
Right.
It's not a major market, So when I look at where the Saints are at, there's a lot of from north, south, east, west, a big following in California and all over. And TJ, that's what I wanted to ask you now. How can you not be a Carolina Panther fan? You must have some Louisiana connection. How you became to love the Saints. And now doing the State of the Saints podcast.
Well, Bobby, I'm originally from New Orleans. I was born and raised in New Orleans. I lived in New Orleans till I was 19. The Hurricane Katrina hit. I was a freshman at Dillard University in Gentilly when
when Hurricane Katrina hit. So I'm originally from New Orleans, so the Saints is in my blood, and I learned about the New Orleans Saints from my grandmother, who is a huge fan of yours. I normally don't do this, Bobby, but she would kill me if I didn't. She's a huge fan of yours. I mean, I can just remember her, me being a kid like 4 years old and her just jumping all over every time you would score a touchdown back in the day. So my grandmother, Miss Maxine Jones, like she loves you. So that's one of the main reasons I fell in love with the team.
Well, you can tell Miss Maxine, your grandmother, I'm a fan of hers.
Yeah.
But that's where, two reasons Sean that told me this. That's where really I was part of the groundwork, also the Dawn Patrol, laying the foundation to give fans hope.
Yeah.
Even with the great Archie Manning, they never went better than 8-8.
Right.
They were 500. Well, I never forget in 1987, that was the strike season. Not only did we win more than 8 games, we won 9 in a row. Right. They canceled one game. We finished 12-3 that year. Then we got waxed by the damn Vikings in the playoffs. But I feel fortunate that I was quarterback in a winning team when I looked at the late 80s, early 90s. Twice we won 12 games. It was crazy because they had limited playoff spots. In 1988, we went 10-6 and didn't make the playoffs.
Wow.
Usually, I'd say if you get to double digits, you can at least be a wild card. You'll be in the postseason. But we didn't make the playoffs. We won 10 games, and then in '91, we finished 11-5 and won the NFC West. Mm-hmm. I think we'd had a little more success if we could have gotten away from the damn 49ers. and when I look back at the 49ers, then and I'm proud of this. I have a winning record against the Hall of Famer Steve Young, but out of 11 games, I've only beaten Joe Montana twice.
Wow.
They always look at the quarterback. I know it's a team sport, but the one thing I've always had success against is the AFC.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing. I was 20-0, won 20 straight games against the AFC opponent. The 21st game, we played the Buffalo Bills. We lost to them in the Superdome. I want to say it was like 24-23, something like that with Jim Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing cover 2-man. And that year I was the least sacked quarterback in the NFL. I want to say 92. I only got sacked 12 times in 15 games, and they sacked me 3 times that one game. And I wasn't holding on the ball. I was getting rid of it.
Yeah.
But they could play cover 2-man, and they had that pass rush. We ended up losing to the Bills, but nothing to feel bad about because the Buffalo Bills were an NFC team. They went to 4 straight Super Bowls and never won.
Yep.
So I feel a big part of Saints history. But now we're in the heyday, and hopefully that continues the next decade from 2020 to 2030, basically.
Yeah.
With Jameis Winston and Taysom. So hopefully they can get it done. I still think we have a lot of pieces in place, but what's really been a headache, what's occurred right now, is cornerbacks.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that was unbelievable strength. When you had Jackrabbit, Janoris Jenkins, and Lattimore, I mean, I liked our duo against anyone. It just goes to show you that's when the salary cap comes into play. Jackrabbit, I want to say 2 or 3 days after we had to let him go, he signs with the Titans.
Yep.
I think he'll be a stud for them. And then with Lattimore, come on, you can't get in trouble. You're getting ready to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the crazy thing to me, Bobby. I'm like, look, this is a contract year. Like, you don't want to give the organization any type of leverage over you, when you're negotiating a contract. So, that's something that, that he had to take into consideration. But I definitely agree. But let me ask you this, since we're talking cornerbacks, the NFL draft is coming up. Do you think the Saints need to address the cornerback position in the first round?
Without a doubt, they have them graded that high. I think we got to go defense. Yeah. I just think with our offensive line, we're going to control the trenches. And we go in a number of different directions. Cornerback, I think on the defensive line, I'd say more D tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, listen, nothing against David Onyemata, because I think David Onyemata is a stud. But you had key guys in the rotation, and they're no longer there. Malcolm Brown was a big part of our run defense and what we're able to do. And I know David and Onyemata appreciate him. Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah.
He's held when he's well. Can he stay healthy?
Right.
So I'd say corner or tackle. I just don't think Saints fans right now would be overly confident. And they are NFL players, but we're sticking P-Rob or P.J. Williams out there.
Oh, no.
I think the fans look at P.J. Williams more as a hybrid, a safety type guy.
Yeah.
And if you look at Patrick Robinson, he's 34 years of age, and he's only played. He's been hurt a lot lately. He's only played 26 of the possible 48 games since he returned to the Saints in 2018.
Right.
You got then another one's a practice squad guy, Grant Haley. Now Keith Washington from West Virginia. I went to it was limited. We could watch training camp.
Right.
And I'm there for a little more than half the practices. Keith Washington was outstanding. He was hanging with the vets.
Right.
And Aaron Glenn loved him, but he is so skinny. It looks like if he ever tried to tackle Derrick Henry, he would break in half. You have to just try and trip him. But he can run and make plays. Boy, but was he skinny. And he's not quieter. He can run and cover.
Yeah.
He was tiny.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, that guy got to work out, maybe put a little meat on his bones, and if he can still move like he's moving, he might have a future. Plus, you don't have to pay him.
Right.
So they would want those kind of guys to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Keith Washington, that was somebody that I was always wondering why wasn't he out there. But I just think that, a year almost like similar to like a red shirt year where you can learn, from veterans and, maybe gain a little bit more weight. I think that he can be a baller. But I do think they need to address the cornerback position, Bobby, because, I mean, this is a passing league. And you can arguably say that some of the best wide receivers in football reside in the NFC South. I mean, you're dealing with Julio and Calvin Ridley. You're dealing with, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, they got so many talented wide receivers. And, yeah, exactly. I mean, so many talented receivers, in this division. And then, you're going outside the division playing in the AFC East this season. I mean, they have talented, players in their own right. So you have to make sure that you have guys that can cover, or it's going to be an open and shut case, if you will. Like it's going to be some bad football being played.
Well, TJ, we want to keep our defense at least in the top 10.
Right.
Top 5, that's hard to do because you lose players and all that. We want to keep it in the top 10. And we got to still be stout against the run.
Yeah.
I said that's Malcolm Brown. I think he was unbelievable, outstanding. And now, at least we got a 7-round pick, but he's with the Jaguars.
Right.
But you still got to get a pass rush.
Yep.
Who's on the hot seat, and he's been on the hot seat. Come on, Marcus Davenport.
Right.
He has to do something.
Yeah.
If he wants to get paid, and Mickey Loomis said, and never forget this with Robert Nietzsche, wide receiver and all that. You give these rookies, you give them for sure 3, if not 4 years to develop, and then see where they're at, and they should be ready to roll. Because look what the Saints gave up. Davenport, somehow he needs to stay healthy.
Yeah. And
he needs to have a Trey Hendrickson type year. Because we're going to have to get a pass rush to help out whatever quarterbacks are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I think about this, Bobby. I think about Marcus Davenport being drafted to the Saints. I always tell this story here on the State of the Saints podcast. I know exactly where I was. I was at the gym working out, and the draft was on television, and I was like in between reps, and the Saints were up next. And this was the time where, we all thought that the Saints were probably going to go quarterback and get Lamar Jackson. So we'd seen the Saints move up, and everybody was like, oh, they're about to get Lamar. They're about to get Lamar. And all of a sudden they get Davenport, who a lot of Saints fans never even heard of. And I feel like now it's like his career is always going to be compared to Lamar Jackson, because we're going to be saying like, man, if the Saints could have possibly had Lamar on this team, Lamar goes on to lead Baltimore to the playoffs and win league MVP. Meanwhile, Marcus Davenport is spending more time, in the ice tub than, than anything, so he's always going to be compared to that. But the Saints did, sign Tano Passanio. Do you think that he will be a key contributor to this team?
Well, he looks more like a power forward, though. Boy, how can you say a human being's 290 pounds and they're not fat? He's like 6'7", and and hopefully we can give him a nickname to Who Dat Nation. Instead of passing you, we can call him sacking you. I think, I was like, how do I pronounce this name? And then I remember starting thinking about, okay, give him a nickname. I was thinking, we have 2 Villanova players on the team, and you wouldn't think, like I said, he has to be the only Villanova player. So I'm gonna call him Nova. But then when you look on the offensive line, now he still needs to develop. Ethan Greenwich is from Villanova. You think that's a basketball school?
Yeah.
Well, but talk about a smart individual and just a beast. 6'7", right at 290 pounds. If you look, he appeared in 66 games with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a second-round pick in that 2017 draft. His best season came in 2019. He had 4 sacks in the regular season and 2 more during that Chiefs Super Bowl run.
Right.
And he was playing 62% of the defensive snaps. Now, the reason why I bring that up, look at Trey Henderson's production. Trey Henderson only played 53% of the snaps.
Right.
And you look bang for your buck production. And what's also outstanding, even though you look like he's taller, you maybe want a little more base foundation, even being 6'7", 290, he could be 320 and still maybe look thin. But he can play both on the defensive edge and the interior. And I know Coach Ryan Nielsen will love that, to rotate him and, getting the best pass rushes on a passing down, but also can utilize them not only on the edge, but on the interior.
Yeah, and I think that Ryan Nielsen is going to develop him too. I think that, he does an outstanding job with developing those guys on the line. I mean, I think he's one of the main reasons why Trey Henderson got paid. I think that he's the main reason why you've seen a jump from Carl Granderson from year 1 to year 2. And I think that with Tano Passanio, with his ability and his athleticism, I think that he may take that extra step. I mean, Ryan Nielsen, to me, I don't want to say he's a well-kept secret. I mean, he had a lot of coordinating jobs, and the Saints had to do a lot to keep him. But, he's a guy that, does an outstanding job, getting the most out of players that a lot of people may consider, bottom of the barrel or bottom tier players. So it's good to have him on the team. Tano Passanio, like you said, he's a guy with a lot of promise. Speaking of,
and then TJ, when you think of this, one reason he maybe wouldn't admit this, but not only the coaching you're going to get, but playing opposite of Cam Jordan. Here's Cam Jordan. Maybe we always used to wanting to pencil in him double-digit sacks. But Cam Jordan from the get-go has been an every down defensive end, first, second, third down. At Cal, I want to say off the top of my head, he only had like 4 sacks.
Right.
He was a run stopper, but he's developed his pass rush. And now teams aren't going to because he's not been that far removed from being all-pro. Teams are not going to double team, even when Trey Henderson was getting off, they're not going to double team Trey Henderson and leave Cam Jordan one-on-one.
Right.
So what we don't have right now, I'm still concerned with the depth. And big opportunities are going to come for Carl Granderson, who I like out of Wyoming.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a steal because if he wouldn't have gotten in trouble, I think with some domestic violence thing, he wouldn't have got in trouble. He would have got drafted high. He has that kind of ability.
Yeah.
But also a great opportunity for Shai Tuttle from Tennessee. And then Malcolm Roach. Malcolm Roach is from Baton Rouge. He went to University of Texas. But those are 3 young players. Great opportunity for them to step up.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I really have enjoyed the development of these players, just watching them grow as players and see them, be contributors. And I'm looking forward to that. And maybe that's one of the main reasons why the New Orleans Saints aren't really in panic mode when it comes to certain positions, because they believe in Ryan Nielsen. Even though I feel like they do need depth, I think that they see what he's been doing over the last couple of years, and they have to be pretty happy with what they have. But let's talk about moving forward from Drew Brees. But before I do, Bobby, just watching Drew Brees from the time where he signed with the New Orleans Saints to the time that he decides to retire this last season, Tell me, what are you going to remember most about number 9 in the Saints uniform?
Well, first off, actually, people could be in the position where they're a living legacy. Usually, you have to die, and then they, look at that individual. You know how awesome he was, but he is truly a living legend, and to accomplish what he did on and off the field is unbelievable. But I'd say on the football field, playing the position, you know, I played kind of USFL. I played 15 years pro football.
Yeah.
So just his accuracy, overall accuracy, knowing where to go with the ball, and just his work ethic and how he prepares. Very similar. You got to have a skill. Now, obviously, you got to have a skill set, but just the preparation of like a Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. Well, you could see just their work ethic and how they prepared, that if they had talent put in the right place, they would have success.
Yeah.
And just answering the bell and being the leader. You know, one thing that always kind of caught me off guard, because I don't remember seeing this. TJ, you might have in the past, but usually this is like the middle linebacker, like a Ray Lewis type, would be leading the chant before the game.
Yeah.
Like Dan Marino, John Elway, Joe Montana, they never did that. I never witnessed a quarterback getting the team fired up before a game like Drew Brees.
Me neither.
Now, when Drew Brees is out, Demario Davis is that new leader.
Yeah.
To do that. But I remember like, whoa, I was all so focused about what I had to do. I said, man, if you can't motivate yourself, we playing professional football. You know, I always was impressed with that, because I don't remember any top-notch quarterback ever leading the chant of the team before the game started.
Yeah, neither have I. You know, I've never seen that. That was the first time I actually I seen that. I mean, I mean, Ray Lewis. I mean, we seen like, you know, footage of him like in a circle. We know about his trademark little dance when he comes out of the smoke. I mean, but I've never seen a quarterback like Drew Brees, who you just commands the huddle the way that he does, and you know, just gets everybody fired up. And I mean, it became like, you know, a staple, you know, in the Saints organization. Like it's almost like, you know, we as fans, like we go to New Orleans Saints Twitter pages or the website just to see Drew Brees pregame huddle. So yeah, I mean, we all love number 9. I mean, he really just changed the fortunes of the New Orleans Saints and what a lot of people in mainstream sports media thought about the team. You know, I believe that he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, you know, for being great sometimes. You know, I always say, Bobby, that, you know, you gotta bring a guy, you know, you gotta kick him up a couple notches when he's a pioneer. And, you know, when you think about a guy who's undersized, a guy that's like 6 feet, he opened the doors for a lot of these other undersized quarterbacks like a Russell Wilson, like a Kyler Murray, like a Baker Mayfield, you know, guys that probably wouldn't have got an opportunity if Drew Brees wasn't as successful as he was. So I just hope, you know, when they're talking about Drew Brees, they take that into consideration, because I mean, it was an uphill battle for a guy like that. And we seen like the stories, and we seen what happened with people like Doug Flutie, guys that can play, but then look like the prototypical quarterback. Drew Brees changed what a lot of people thought about guys, and it's about, can you play more so than what you look like in a uniform? And I think it has a lot to do with number 9 being under center. You know,
well, I can tell you, Drew Brees might not even be 6 feet tall, barefooted. I think he's 6 foot. But I can tell you this though, you know, it's all about, can you play the position?
Yeah.
And can you lead a team? And you know, you mentioned Doug Flutie. To me, Doug Flutie was a great college quarterback, but he can't sniff Drew Brees. Now I know when they were coming up with the charges and all that. Listen, I played against Doug Flutie, and he played a number of NFL teams. He succeeded because he hung in there on the back end of his career. But he was, you know, Donald Trump was on the New Jersey Generals. He went and get Doug Flutie, got Herschel Walker,
right?
All of them. They didn't win jack. They never beat us.
Yeah.
You know, but the point being is that it's not just because you know, you're small and having success.
Yeah.
That it's what you do. You look at Russell Wilson. You look at Drew Brees.
Yeah.
That's why Baker Mayfield. I think right now supporting cast with Cleveland, he should have success. So you just got to keep it in the right perspective. But when you look at all the intangibles, and I'll tell you, that's why Sean Payton is high on Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you the first overall pick in the NFL.
Right.
There's a reason why you were the first overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at Jameis Winston right now. They might say, well, who's the quarterback of the future? I said Jameis Winston is only 26 years old.
Yeah.
So what if he kicks ass this upcoming season? He's the quarterback of the future. And he's going to bet on himself, and then they'll invest and they'll pay him.
Yeah.
Got an incentive lane contract this year. But people don't realize that he's 26 years of age.
Yeah.
Do you know, since I was reading this, I think it's Pro Football Focus, he has the highest career percentage on first down throws or dropbacks since 2006.
Yeah.
So when you look at a number of categories, he ranks right now NFL all time. This is Jameis Winston amongst, you got to have immediate success. Like I said earlier, Doug Flutie didn't have immediate success. Now, he didn't win a Super Bowl, but look, where he ranks NFL all time amongst quarterbacks through the age of 25. He's second in completions, he's second in touchdowns, and he's first in yards. He's right under 20,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not James Winston's first rodeo. Look at all that experience. He came to the Saints with already 70 starts. So when you look at that, and I think Sean Payton thinks that he can develop Jameis Winston to take that next step.
Yeah.
And the one thing all they have to do, him and Taysom, one thing they both can't fumble. That football has to be like gold. You don't want to throw picks, but you also cannot fumble.
Yeah.
You want to be +1, +2 in that turnover margin. But when you look at Jameis Winston, you have a lot of haters out there. But I tell you what, there's not too many people who's thrown in the National Football League 5,000 yards. Now, I know the interceptions and the 30-plus touchdowns. So I just think that Sean Payton thinks that Jameis could be their future. And I think it's going to be open competition. May the best man win between him and Taysom. But I think when all said and done, it's going to be very similar to what we've seen this year. And I think Jameis is fine with that. You plug and play Taysom Hill. Contributing. It's not a two-quarterback system. Yeah. It's getting the most out of that quarterback position. So as of right now, before I don't know we have any OTAs or minicamp, but as of right now, I would say that going into training camp, that you can see a lot of the same thing that you witnessed last year with Drew Brees and Taysom, but it'll be Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I think that Jameis Winston needs an opportunity, to resurrect his career. I think that a lot of the Who Dat Nation, they're looking at, the tail end of Drew Brees' career. But a lot of people, were kind of skeptical about Drew Brees. They didn't know what to make about Drew back in 2006. And Drew Brees, changed a lot of people's mind. He showed that he can be a successful quarterback. And not only is he a successful quarterback, but an all-time great. And, I just think that Jameis has all the tools. And in some cases, he has better tools than Drew Brees when it comes to like arm strength and some of the things that he can, also bring to the table. But I just think that, Saints fans, we've become a little bit spoiled with the quarterback play. So he's going to forever be compared to Drew, no matter what he does. If he makes a mistake, people are going to be like, well, Drew wouldn't do that. If he throws it to the wrong guy, be like, well, Drew wouldn't have done that. So, they have that saying, it's best to be the man after the man after the man, instead of the man after the man being a successor,
Like you say, DJ, you don't want to be the man to replace the man.
Yeah.
They're still trying to look for the next Dan Marino with the Dolphins.
Yep.
I don't know if it's going to be Tua. I mean, then you got Mac Jones coming out of Alabama.
Right.
I mean, when you think about that, Alabama quarterbacks as of late, you got to go old school.
Yeah.
You got to go back to Bart Starr. You got to go back to Joe Namath.
Right.
You got to go back to Kenny Snake Stabler. But the modern day Alabama quarterbacks, that'll be interesting to see when all said and done between Tua's career and then with Mac Jones, or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
With him because he's rising up the charts in the draft. But the bottom line is. Jameis Winston can make all the throws.
Yeah.
And it's good that you can push the ball downfield because then you can keep a defense honest.
Yeah.
But you just got to protect it. You have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And if you can do that, I think James is going to have success in the Saints uniform.
Yeah. Final question for you, Bobby. Do you think that the quarterback that could possibly lead the Saints to the Super Bowl is in the locker room right now?
Man, I thought Drew Brees was going to at least 2 or 3. I still say that 2011 team, that was the best Saints team ever.
Yeah.
And then the Nolan no call, so we got ripped off there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we don't won 3 Super Bowls with the Saints, and that's not woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's like reality.
Yeah.
That they were that good. Because in 2011, people don't realize, you had the Saints became the new greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
So they had the St. Louis Rams and Kurt Warner and all. The Saints broke all their records, and then obviously I think it was 15 with Peyton Manning and the Broncos broke the Saints records.
Yeah.
But I'm digressing. But the point being is that I think next year, even with now 17 games, I'd be extremely disappointed if the Saints don't get the double-digit wins.
Yeah. True.
I'd say look at the Tampa Bay is the same Tampa team. Oh, we beat them twice, and what have you done for me lately? I could see us being the wild card, Tampa winning the NFC South, but us being like a 10-17. So if you're in the hunt, you have a chance. But to say you're going to win a Super Bowl, I don't know. You have to have some luck and things bounce your way and everything. But no, I'd be disappointed if. But you look when Tom Brady left the Patriots, how they went down. I don't expect that with the Saints.
All right.
I expect him still to be amongst the best in the NFC and to be in the playoffs with Jameis leading them.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued about this season. We have a lot of unanswered questions, and, as members of the Who Dat Nation, Saints fans everywhere. But I trust this coaching staff. I think that they do a really good job. I think sometimes we get so focused on Drew Brees and the way that he plays. I think sometimes we forget about how great this team has been, and them preparing for life outside of Drew Brees. There are a lot of bright spots on this team, and there's a lot of leadership that can lead the Saints into the next generation for them to be successful going forward. But Bobby,
right now, TJ, I'm gonna leave you with this. I for some reason I am not worried about the offense. People say, "Oh, well, what about the quarterback?"
Yeah.
I just want our defense to keep pace like it did last year. I'm telling you, like I told you earlier, we're gonna win in the trenches. When you look at the offensive line, that's where the bottom line, we're going to win there.
Yeah.
And so I know you control line of scrimmage, you always have a chance to win. Now, you want to control line of scrimmage on the offense and the defensive side.
Right.
But looking at Richie, the cornerback situation, that's kind of crazy right now. What's going on with Lattimore, like I said, not having Jackrabbit anymore. And just the D-line to death. I think if David Onyemata, Cam Jordan, if they're healthy, that's the thing. You got to stay healthy. That's where we don't have the depth. So the D-line, and then I wanted to bring up with you also the linebacker position.
Yeah.
Man, I like our changes a lot. I don't know how Quan Alexander's going to rehab, and he might end up coming back with the Saints. But we were hanging with Tampa Bay with Demario Davis and Quan Alexander. We were hanging with Levante David and LSU guy. Name slipping my mind.
Devin White.
Devin White.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they run sideline to sideline. So that's another one like Trey Hendrickson who needs to step up. And like I said, Davenport needs to step up. Trey Hendrickson did. But now it's only his second year. Zach Bond.
Yeah.
The linebacker out of Wisconsin. So what is he going to end up doing? Now, I know it's always, how would you say, like sexy as far as, the wide receiver position. Who's going to, step up? Because, we were snake bit when you look at like Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And where he was at. But, it was crazy thing. And because we don't expect this out of the Saints office, because we were always like 1, 2, and 3 in passing.
Yeah.
And just goes to show you, Michael Thomas, the receiving core, this is a disappointing thing. we did not have a single wide receiver record more than 800 yards receiving last season. And that was the first time that happened since 1997.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, look, Emmanuel Sanders, he's not there. So that's something I think they're going to address. Or they have guys in the building like Traquan. That's another one. Traquan, come on, take advantage and step up. I think Deontay Harris could develop and be that burner. But he got to stay healthy. I think Marquez Callaway, I'm a big fan.
Me too.
Of his. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm more worried right now in the draft we got to hit. And you might add a free agent now and then. We had the tight end, free agent. But I'm more to tell you the truth. If we're not as successful as we were in the past or even the last 4 years, no one has won more games than us.
Right.
I think it's because our defense, not Jameis Winston in the offense.
Yeah. I mean, I think the offense is always going to be fine because you have Sean Payton calling the plays, and Sean Payton is not one of those coaches like a Bruce Arians that just believes, oh, you are going to work in my system. The players say all the time that Sean Payton utilizes the strengths of those players. Like if he sees that you're a downfield burner, he'll call more down the field plays for you. I mean, we've seen that with Robert Meacham, Devery Henderson, when he's seen you as a move the sticks type player when it came to Lance Moore and Willie Snead over the years. So he's going to put guys in the positions to succeed. He's not going to really ask a player to do something that's, outside of his realm. And I think that's worked for the New Orleans Saints. And I do feel like, Bobby, I think the New Orleans Saints, to me, I think they need that guy that you can count on, like an Anquan Bolden guy on third down that can get you that first down. I haven't seen that since, probably Willie Snead's been on the team, a guy that you can count on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 to move the sticks. And I really feel like there's a guy out there by the name of Golden Tate who I feel like would be a good fit for the New Orleans Saints when it comes to third down situations. But I also feel like they need to get themselves another rookie wide receiver later in the draft, maybe, a guy that, that has some speed, kind of similar to Deontay Harris, because Deontay Harris is a playmaker. He is a problem when he's on the field. We've seen that in the game versus Tampa. I really feel like if he probably would have stayed on the field, probably would have been a different story. But I do think the Saints need a bigger body that can do some of the things that Deontay can do, a guy that, can absorb some of that punishment. When you're a 5'8", 5'9", 170-pound guy and you get tackled by 300-pound linemen, there's a strong chance that you can end up being injured. But Bobby, I want to say thank you.
The only thing, DJ, we want Deontay Harris to be Tyreek Hill.
Right.
And I said, he'd be a poor man, Tyreek Hill. Come on. There ain't too many cats like that.
Yeah.
The thing is about that slot receiver, Austin Carr, he's had an opportunity.
No.
But, we kind of took for granted. And Lance Moore, and you talk about Willie Snead, they were so thankful to be in the Saints organization because that helped them get exposure and to get paid and get a career.
Right.
Now, ultimately Willie had to go with the Ravens.
Yeah.
But no, that slot receiver, we definitely we need someone like that trust factor that it's like Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
When Tom Brady, they're gonna run that same play, but how are you gonna stop them?
Yep.
And you need to have that confidence. And then if you have the ability to throw it deep, then James will be able to pull the trigger on that one. So
yeah.
But TJ, thanks for having me on, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much, Bobby. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to hearing from you on WWL. And thank you for giving us a slogan that we can run with, the Who Dat Nation, the Godfather of the Who Dat Nation.
That's it, Who Dat Nation. All right, TJ, give me a Who Dat before I run.
Who Dat?
Who Dat? Yeah, because we always tell the players when they come to the Saints, we interview on the radio. Come on, you got to bring it from within. You can't say like, who that? You got to be, who that? You got to bring it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Bobby, for your time. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, TJ, later.
All right, take care. Yeah, and that was the Caden Cannon, Bobby Hebert. Man, that was the Caden Cannon, Bobby Hebert, blessing us with some great commentary here on the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast, making us a part of your Monday afternoon. And, got some time. Go ahead and answer some of your questions. So what do you all think, about, Bobby Hebert, some of his comments? What do you think about, some of the things that he said about the Saints, needing, to address some issues defensively? What do you think about that? I think that he hit the nail on the head. I never have been concerned about the Saints offense because I know that the Saints offense is going to be really good. You know what I'm saying? As long as you got Sean Payton as your coach, as long as you have Sean Payton, calling these plays, I think you should be fine because Sean Payton does a good job putting guys in positions to succeed, and I think that that's very, very, very important. So thank you all so much for being a part of the State of Saints podcast. Thank you for all those that filed in. I hope you all enjoyed the interview. Bobby Hebert was nice enough to be a part of the show. Come on and give us a few minutes of his time. And, I'm appreciative of that, So let's go ahead and start with the comments. Let's go ahead and start with Damien. Damien says that would be a great signing, Golden Tate. Yeah, I just think that Golden Tate would be something that the Saints are missing. We know the Saints got a burner in Deontay Harris. We know that they got a possession guy in a Michael Thomas. We know that they have a guy, in Traquan that can be a good blocking wide receiver and also, catch a couple of those, short passes, on those wide receiver screens. But the Saints need a guy that's not afraid to get his hands dirty and catch the ball on some of those crucial situations to move the chains. That's very important. The Saints used to look for a player like Jared Cook to do that, like on third downs. But I just think that they need a receiver that can, that can win that matchup on 3rd and 4 and get you that first down. And that's something that has been missing. Like I said, I gotta go back to Willie Snead. A guy that I can just think of right off the top of my head that gave you that type of production. And as long as you don't have that can be something that that can hurt a team because you need those type of guys. Thank you all so much, and I want to let everybody know that this show is brought to you by Manscape. Manscape is the official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. And flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it's time to mow your lawn. Thanks to the sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast, Manscaped, you can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. I am talking about the trimmer, the Lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped. The global leader in men's below-the-waist grooming has exclusive offers for you, the State of the Saints podcast audience. All you have to do is use the promo code State of Saints. That's all one word, State of Saints, and you will save 20% on your purchase. And there's free international shipping available. And 2 million men have trusted Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. All right, so it's time for a little spring cleaning with Manscaped. And thank you to Manscaped for being the official sponsor for the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you all so much for being here once again. I know I keep on saying that, but it's true. Pammy says, great interview, TJ. Well, thank you for listening to the interview. I appreciate you all. Thank you for stopping by. Chosen says, I agree. I was never worried offensively. We put up points no matter what, but I just hope defensively we can stay afloat. We already was having issues with depth. Now that we lost key players, it's even more alarming. So I'm hoping the D can at least be efficient. Well, I just hope, Chosen, that we don't go back to the dark ages when the Saints couldn't stop a nosebleed. When the offense was rolling, clicking, gelling, whatever you want to call it, and then the defense goes out there and just goes out there, gets sliced up like Swiss cheese. And, I just don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen anymore. I think the Saints have made strides over the last couple of years to have a formidable and a respectable defense. I feel like they can do it again, but it's going to take all those guys on defense to be working together. And, you're probably going to have a few hiccups when it comes to communication in the secondary early, like always. But hopefully they can weather the storm. Hopefully they can get pressure on the quarterback. And hopefully they can address some of these issues like at the linebacker position. And hopefully guys like Tano Passigno and Marcus Davenport can step up and give you the production that you need. Because look, Cam Jordan, he had one of his lowest statistical years in the Saints uniform. And, you know, once you start to get a little bit older, you can't really count on those guys to give you that type of production they once did. Now, I'm not saying that Cam Jordan is washed. That's not true. But, you know, as guys start to get older, you want those younger guys to step up in order for them to one day pick up that flag and carry it, you know, along, you know, when you're going to war. So, you know, I want to see these other guys step up. You know, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Carl Granderson putting in that work. I've seen what he's doing in all season. Notano Passanio, I think that he's extremely athletic. He's an extremely talented defensive end. I think with the right coaching, he can be a disruptor. And Marcus Davenport, man, I mean, look, it's time for him to step up. It's time to show what he has. And, you know, I mean, when you start to go into year 3, year 4 of your career, and there's still no production, you know, where people can be like, man, you know what I'm saying? This is the reason why the Saints drafted him. I'm not saying that he hasn't done anything. I mean, I'm not going to poo-poo on him like that. But I will say that for what the Saints have given up for him and what they have done to try to get him in a Saints uniform, he hasn't given them a return on their investment. So it's time to put up or shut up. All right. That's just the facts. Callaway could become the guy. Well, he can become the guy. You know, I'm not looking past Callaway. I think that he's a smart football player. You know, one thing that really stood out for me when it came to Callaway was his fearlessness. You know, I think one pass Drew Brees threw to him. A lot of wide receivers probably would have become afraid, you know, to catch that pass. It was a pass where, you know, he was going up the sidelines. There was a safety kind of, you know, zeroing in on him, you know, and it could have went south. You know, if he would have caught that ball, the safety could have really just knocked his block off. Or, you know, I mean, he could have easily made a business decision, and he still caught the pass. And then there was also another game where I've seen him play. I want to say it was against the Detroit Lions, when I seen him, like, you know, taking advantage of the zone defense. And I mean, you would find soft spots in the zone. And it takes guys a couple of years in order for them to develop that type of intelligence on the field. So there's a lot of bright spots on this team, especially when it comes from Marquez Callaway. And I'm hoping to see a jump from year 1 to year 2 as his confidence develops and he becomes more sure of himself in the Saints offense. If you like the show, if you enjoyed the interview with Bobby Hebert, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button. Show that you appreciate the show. And also, if you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. According to State of the Saints podcast analytics, there are about 64% of you that are subscribed to the channel, but there's another 30-some% of individuals. I want to say 39. I want to say about 39% of individuals that check out the State of the Saints podcast consistently have not subscribed. So if we can get that, that 39% down just a tad bit, all you got to do is just hit that subscription button. If you like the commentary, if you like the content, if you enjoy the show, just go ahead and hit that subscription button, man. We are trying to get to 10,000, man. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're at 6,000 right now, and I am soliciting help from those that view the show. So if you enjoy the show, you enjoy the interviews, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscription button, help the State of the Saints podcast grow as a podcast. I appreciate that. I think we excel at having a good organization with a great coaching staff that will address some of these needs. Ghostface, you're absolutely right. And I just think that the Who Dat Nation sometimes don't give the coaching staff of the New Orleans Saints a lot of credit. You know, I think that they look at these players and they're like, okay, you know, the players are doing this, but you have to keep in mind, it's the coaching staff and the organization that get these players in here in order for them to be productive. It's the coaches that coach these players up to put them in position to succeed. It's the front office going out here searching high and low to get the right guys, the right 53 on the team. And I just think that, you know, we start looking at, oh, we don't have this, oh, we don't have that. But the reason why we fell in love with these players is because the organization made a commitment to these players and put them on the team because they felt like those players had something that they can give to this organization. So I think that we need to give the Saints organization a little bit more credit than we have given them and hope that they can get us where we need to be. I believe in them, okay? Until it's proven otherwise, I believe in this organization. I believe that they have been preparing for these type of moments. They realized that Drew Brees was at the twilight of his career. I'm pretty sure there were comments and conversations that were had behind the scenes when it came to Drew Brees' career and how long he was going to be playing. I think that the torch has been passed to the new generation of Saints players. And, you look at people like DeMario Davis and Cam Jordan and Teron Armstead. These guys have willing to accept the responsibility of being leaders on this team. And if you look at the Saints and how they're structured when it comes to leadership, you have to be really excited. I mean, great, solid locker room, great camaraderie, and guys get along for the most part. I mean, you're always going to have guys on the team that may not get along. I mean, that just comes with the territory. Anybody that believes that everybody on the team gets along, you're sadly mistaken. You probably been working alongside somebody for years, and you probably don't get along with them, But at the same time, they do a good job at their job, and you do a good job at your job, and together, you're an unstoppable force. So sometimes iron sharpens iron, and I believe that this organization is put in place to be able to tread through the waters post Drew Brees. Would you draft for that receiver or free agency? Look, I actually do both, Brandon. I would actually do both. I do feel like the Saints need a seasoned veteran opposite of Michael Thomas. I think that the veteran, what he brings to the locker room, his knowledge, his ability to, be able to make plays, the game not being too big for him, I think that that's a plus. When you're dealing with rookies, sometimes those guys, they've been waiting their whole life for these type of moments. They be wide-eyed, they be bushy-tailed, and sometimes they play a little nervous, because they're thinking in their heads like, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Sometimes, the roar of the crowd, like looking at your uniform, like, man, I can't believe I'm in the NFL. Sometimes it takes those guys some time in order for them to adjust to being a professional. But when you get a guy that's been in the league, that's seen it all, that's done it all, that's been through the highs and the lows, I think those guys are ready to play right then and there. So I do think the Saints need to get a younger wide receiver, but I do think they need to get a seasoned veteran, somebody that can help Michael Thomas with some of these younger receivers to give them the confidence that they need when they're going out there on Sunday, because you need guys that have confidence in themselves. And sometimes guys have to lean on each other. I don't care how confident you are. Sometimes you want to hear, things that you can do better. You want to hear from somebody that actually done it. You want to show that you want people to appreciate you, for what you're doing. And you also want people to be, honest with you. And sometimes the people that we look for are the people that actually been there. Those are the people that we respect. Think about being a young linebacker. And let's just say, for example, you were playing for the Ravens and Ray Lewis was, in his prime. Of course, you're going to be listening a little bit longer because Ray Lewis is one of the best to ever do it. He's, he's a great linebacker. It don't even have to be, a great linebacker. It could be a guy like a KJ Wright. I'm not saying that he's not great, but I'm just saying like a guy that's been there, done that. You need those type of guys on your team, which, speaking of KJ Wright, I think he's still out there. So hint, New Orleans. J-Rock says, TJ, you think the Saints will go defense with the first round pick, or Terrence Marshall is available? What the Saints do? What do you think they will take? Well, I don't know if they'll take Terrence Marshall in the first round because, I don't think that that's that important right then and there. The Saints still have good wide receivers that can get the job done. What the New Orleans Saints need is defense. You need a linebacker, you need a cornerback. It's just as simple as that, J-Rock. You're not going anywhere without good linebacker play or good cornerback play. There's an old saying, it dates back to the beginning of the State of the Saints podcast. You don't have a good cornerback, you getting smoked like brisket, burned like a biscuit. It's just as simple as that. You need good cornerback play, especially going up against some of the best wide receivers in the NFL. When you got Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you need those guys to go out there and be able to guard those guys, or it's going to be a long day and it's going to be a sack lunch. You know what I'm saying? For some of these guys, Anthony here checking in. Hope all is well. Who that for life? Well, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Shouts out to you. We need a corner or a linebacker first. I'm going to say cornerback because everybody throws the ball, man. Trask an option if available? Well, I've been hearing Kyle Trask's name come up. You know, the quarterback out of Florida. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist. He had one of his worst showings in a bowl game. Look, I think that Kyle Trask is a middle of the pack quarterback. I don't think that you're going to win nothing with him. I think that he can be a solid quarterback in the NFL if he plays his cards right. But there's nothing about him that knocks my socks off. You know, I don't see what everybody else sees. You know, I mean, maybe it's just the fact that I haven't seen a successful Florida quarterback. You know, so I guess you can count Cam Newton, but we don't consider him as a Florida quarterback. I mean, Florida quarterbacks, they're good in college, but when they come to the pros, it's hard for them to transition, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, think about it. You think about the Tebows. You think about the Chris Leaks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about the Jesse Palmers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, all these guys were good in college. I mean, Danny Wolfle, and former New Orleans Saint. Like, I mean, I haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen a good, solid Florida quarterback come into the league and take it by storm. I mean, Tebow took it by storm when it comes to like mainstream media, but it wasn't because of his play on the field. It was more about him being super religious and, you know, the God is awesome guy. You know what I'm saying? It had really little to do with his production on the field. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, Kyle Trask, I mean, I ain't seen it. I could be wrong, you know, and y'all know me. If I'm wrong, I'll come up here and say, man, I was wrong about it. But I don't see greatness. I don't see knock your socks off. I don't see potential MVP and Super Bowl MVP in Kyle Trask. You know, I just see a guy that has headphones on and a clipboard for the majority of his career. That's what I see. So the Saints could be high on him, but man, that's why I don't get paid to be a scout. But from what I see, I would say no, sir. Okay. I'm more concerned about the tight end position. Troutman has the potential, but hasn't proven anything yet. Hopefully he's the truth, just my opinion. Well, Damien, it's hard for us to see certain things, you know, if they haven't been, you know, revealed to us. We have to take it for what we actually have seen. We've seen the development of Adam Troutman as a blocker. Adam Troutman coming out of Dayton was a pass-catching tight end. And he had like all the tools in order for him to be a solid tight end. And we've seen him develop as a blocker. As a matter of fact, he's won a few awards, you know, that were given out for him to, you know, as being a blocker. So that was one of the things that he needed to develop. I mean, we already knew that he can catch passes. And here's the thing, man. The guy that's getting paid the most are always going to get the most opportunities. I'm going to say that again. The guy that is getting paid the most is always going to get the most opportunities. And sometimes that guy may not be better than the other guy, but he's going to get the most opportunities. And when you look at Jared Cook and what the Saints were paying him, of course, they're not going to, you know, make his production fall back because they're going to feel like they're losing money. Okay, so it probably didn't have anything to do with Adam Troutman's development and had everything to do with the fact that they paid Jared Cook to be here and they're going to make him work. I mean, we've heard that before. We heard, you know, Rashard Matthews, shouts out to my guy Rashard, came on the show and he says that, you know, we need to understand that sometimes it's not about, you know, who's the best on the field. It's about what the organization has given up to acquire a player. And because they've given up so much, then, you know, they want to make that player work. And a guy that may be a little bit better than that player might get the short end of the stick. Adam Troutman could have been in that situation. He was a third-round pick last year's draft, but Jared Cook is a guy that the Saints paid to come here to be a pass-catching tight end. So it probably wasn't any fault of Adam Troutman that he didn't hit the field as much. When he did hit the field, I seen production. I seen him, you know, pushing guys back, you know, being a solid blocker. And if you're looking at it from that standpoint, Damien, because like I said, he was a pass catching tight end, so we know he can catch the ball. You ought to feel happy that he's actually developing as a blocker, something that he needed to get better at. So with that being said, I think you ought to be happy and optimistic about what's going to happen now that he's going to be a starting tight end of the New Orleans Saints. Basically, Bama quarterbacks. Yeah, for the most part, LeVar. You know, I really don't. I haven't seen it. You know, I think that these guys are really good in college because of what's around them. You know, it's easy for you to throw a pass down the field when Waddle is beating a guy by 10 yards, right? I mean, all you got to do is just lay it out there. He's going to catch the ball. Or throw, you know, a wide receiver screen, and the elusiveness of the wide receivers going to, you know, maneuver through those defenders, you know, and slice through them. I mean, it's easy for you to look good in that regard. But what happens when the window is about that small? You know, like what happens when, you know, you're only going to have, like, for the most part, 4 or 5 yards of separation? Like, what are you going to do then? Like, are you going to be able to throw those back shoulder fades? Are you going to be able to throw a guy open? Are you going to be able to do that? And, you know, I haven't seen it from a Florida quarterback, you know, and in some cases, I haven't seen it from an Alabama quarterback either. You know, like, I haven't seen it. So I need to see it in order for me to believe it. You know, I think a lot of these quarterbacks are being recipients of great offensive weapons around them, you know, and you have to be careful with that. I'm always impressed with guys that come from, like, middle of the pack schools, and they're playing with guys that are like 3- and 4-star athletes, guys that probably were afterthoughts for some of these power conferences, and they have their quarterback that can go out there and make these guys better. I'm always looking at those guys, right? Because when you look at the Floridas, right, you look at the Alabamas, these guys are always going to be in the top 10 in recruiting. They're always going to have solid players that are around these quarterbacks, and all you have to do is just be mediocre at best, and you'll look above average because you're throwing to superior, you know, athletes that are borderline elite in a college ranks. So, you know, it's hard for, you know, when you're throwing the ball to Devontae Smith. I mean, this guy won a Heisman, for God's sakes. I mean, when you're throwing the ball to Waddle, I mean, you're throwing the ball to Najee Harris. Of course, these guys are going to make you look good. You know, it's almost like, you know, if I'm on a team with Kevin Durant, LeBron James, James Harden, and Steph Curry, right? You know what I'm saying? All I got to do is just throw the ball to one of those guys, and I'm going to win every time. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty obvious that I'm going to be the worst player out there. But, you know, because I'm affiliated with those guys, I'm a part of the winning team. So I'm looking at some of these other guys. You know, I'm looking at these guys like the Jamie Newmans. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at guys like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at some of these guys that probably aren't household names yet, but these guys can develop into the players that you want them to be. That is what I'm looking at. Y'all know how the OG get things done on a daily basis. Well, shouts out to Jerry, man. Thank you for being here, Jerry. It's all good, man. I know you say you was running errands, but I'm glad that you're here, man. You know, that's the important thing, that you're here. And even if you didn't, you know, check out the live, man, just you watching it, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, my friend. Mocha says, who that? Quarterback from Colorado State. Yeah, I'm looking at guys like that. I'm looking at some of those guys that can come into a system and you can mold them to what they need to be. Those are the guys that I'm looking at. You know, those are the guys that I look at and be like, hey, you know what? You know, maybe we got something here. You know, when those guys can win in spite of what's around them, if they can play good and solid despite what's around them, I always give those guys the extra notch. You know, I'm not saying that those guys are going to end up being standout pros, but when you look at some of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, I mean, they ain't come from big name schools. I mean, Patrick Mahomes came from Texas Tech. Josh Allen, you know what I'm saying? He came from Wyoming. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys that are, you know, showing up. I mean, Lamar Jackson came from Louisville. You know what I'm saying? Louisville is a basketball school. You know, like you're looking at some of these top quarterbacks in the league. Russell Wilson came from Wisconsin. I mean, the list goes on and on. These aren't the schools that, you know, that we look at and we quiver in our boots when LSU has to play them. So let's try to look at everybody, you know what I'm saying, and really assess the situation. And let's not fall in love with the guy's name and the school that he's affiliated with, because sometimes those guys are not going to always give you the production that you're looking for. Damien says, appreciate the breakdown, TJ. I am optimistic about Troutman, but now he's a starter, so I guess we'll find out this year. Yeah, I mean, look, it's always a level of skepticism, Damian, when you don't know about things. Now I can see. Now I can say it. I see love. Well, look, I appreciate that, Shelly. But back to Damian. Yeah, it's. I understand like skepticism when something hasn't been seen, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those things where when a person, tells you that they're going to do something for you, like, and maybe it's something like really important. All right. Let's just say for all my married people out there, right? Like if your best man, you give him the ring, you know what I'm saying? Like, like you have confidence that, what I'm saying? Like the ring is going to make it to the church where you can put it on your bride's hand. But still, what I'm saying? There's going to be this level of nervousness, like, man, what I'm saying? I hope this dude don't do nothing crazy, man. I hope he don't forget the ring at the hotel or forget the ring at his house or he's doing it right. Like, you know that most likely it's going to happen. But at the same time, it hasn't happened yet. So you're kind of skeptical about it. But finally, like when the priest or the preacher asks for the rings and your best man pulls it out and give it to you, like, clutch, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand the skepticism, but look, I mean, it remains to be seen. I'm just going to say I'm going to be optimistic until it's proven otherwise. All right. Jeff Ireland was at Tulsa Pro Day checking out Zaven Collins this past weekend. That makes me excited. Well, look, Jeff Ireland does a really good job with scouting players. He does a really good job at getting the right players into this organization. He's done so ever since he's gotten here back in about 2015. And, it just, one of those things, saying like that he does really, really well. He has an opportunity, to, like find the right players. Some long-winded rant says me and TJ is like this, son. Well, sometimes, I can get a little bit long-winded, but would you want me not to be long-winded? It wouldn't really make up for a really good show. It really would, so I got to be able to talk. Amen to that. Some vinyl record, TJ skipping like we usually do today. Well, I don't know who some vinyl record is. Well, look, I'm just going to say this, man. I appreciate everybody for coming on the show, but it's impossible for me to read everybody's comments, and especially if I'm changing the topic, it makes no sense for me to go back to talk about some of the things that, that we've already talked about. It's to keep the podcast as uniform as I possibly can. I understand that everybody, wants their moment, to be able to ask the question, but it's impossible for me to always ask questions. And I understand people take that stuff personal, and I apologize, but, I'm not going to answer everybody's question. I hate to say it like that, but I'm sorry. I try to give everybody the best content possible, but it's impossible for me to answer everybody's question. And I'm going to answer the questions, as they go along, as I see them. And I apologize to anybody in advance, charge it to, just the flow of the show and not what I think about you personally. People have left the show because they feel like their opinions don't matter. Sorry, I might miss an episode, but I always watch every single one. Ghostface, I appreciate that. Shelly says, and that is why Roosevelt Middle School is called what it is. Mocha, Jared says, same here. Victoranto, I'll be forgetting the ring sometimes. The best man. Yeah, look, I don't know a lot of guys that forget rings, but like I said, I know that guys are nervous about that. I know guys are nervous about that. They did like, oh man, especially if you got like a best friend that's, that a little bit incompetent at times. Like he, like you can't really count, like you can count on him, but can't really count on him, or like where you at? What are you doing? Like it makes you a little bit nervous. Like when your cat goes away for 2 days, she's coming back, but there's no feeling like when she does. Exactly. Thank God. I'm sad. What's wrong? What's wrong, Shelly? Ramsey said, "Hey TJ, did you watch the Impact episode this past Wednesday night? Just come up with it, but the past Wednesday in the games of the week, Star Wars Commando and Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Okay, well, thank you, Ramsey, for the game update. No, I didn't watch the Impact episode. I'm not really a big Impact wrestling fan. I kind of know what's going on, because I check the timeline. I interact with other wrestling fans, but no, I didn't. I don't really watch Impact. Jeremiah says, what do you think about the New Orleans Saints moving forward for the 2021 season? Give Jameis opportunity to make the top of Super Bowl Mountain in Los Angeles next year. Is going to be a young man in the World Super Bowl championship. Look, I just think that the Saints need to give him an opportunity. Jameis Winston has the opportunity of a lifetime. All right, this is the opportunity for him to resurrect his career. And no matter what he does, he's always going to have that, that 30 touchdown, 30 interception season luring over his head. But he can't change the narrative of what people think about him. And this is an opportunity to do so. And he has all the stars aligned for him to do it. I mean, you got the right head coach that's going to put you in a place to succeed. You got playmakers all around you. You got solid leadership, so you don't have to worry about just being the guy. The Saints have leadership. All you have to do is go in there and do your job. You're not the hopes and the dreams of the organization are not just put on your back like it was in Tampa. People aren't looking at you to be the savior of the team. They're just looking at you to go out there and play solid football, and the rest will take care of itself. So if he does that, then I do feel like the Saints can be extremely successful. Tell me apologize for nothing. Please apologize for nothing. Thank you, Jesus. Free advice. Thank you, Jesus. I don't know what's going on with that. Tammy Torrento Sargent. I don't know what's going on with that. Mario Berner says, speaking of tight ends, with Troutman and Burnett on the field, I believe the single back formation is going to be nasty and play action will be relevant again. Can you elaborate on this, sir? Yeah, look, I think the play action is going to be on full display because I think the Saints are going to run the football a lot more this season. Look, the Saints will have to be insane not to run the football this season, especially when you have guys that are new to this offense at the quarterback position. Yeah, I understand that both of these guys have been on the team for more than 2 years. This is Jameis' second season with the team. Taysom has been here for about 5 years. So these guys have been around Drew. But it's one thing for you to be looking at it from the outside looking in. But to actually be on the field, the best friend of a guy that's getting his first start with a team is a running game. So I count on the Saints to be really a heavy run team. I think that's one of the reasons why, we like, why did they sign Andrews Pete back? Why did they bring him back? Because Andrews Pete is a better run blocker than he is pass blocker. And I think the Saints are prepared to run the football more than pass it. And when you have guys that can run in between the tackles like Latavius and like Alvin Kamara, that does set up the play action. And now you have Adam Troutman emerging as being a solid blocker. And you also have Nick Barnett coming over, who is a younger version of a Josh Hill. I think that you can find success in the play action game. And I think that you're going to see more explosive plays down the field. But I think it all is going to start up front. Offensive line to me is the most solid part of this team. When you look at all of the areas, like the defensive line, there are questions. Linebackers, there are questions. Secondary, there are questions. Wide receivers, there are questions. Quarterback, there are questions. One thing we're not questioning very much is the offensive line. So because that is the most solid part of your team, why not lean on those guys in order for you to generate success in the running game? All right. I think if you have success in the running game, everything else will take care of itself. Oh, wow, I can't believe I'm crazy and I can't believe my child. Let me move on from that. Look, I don't know what's going on with that. Again, thank you for reading our comments, bro. Look, I try to read everybody's comments. I just don't understand. I don't understand why people just take that so personal. I don't know, man. I guess you have to get to know me to understand that. I don't know. And you have to understand that it's random because I run across people having arguments, going back and forth with each other. So I mean, I'm just reading comments, and sometimes, you know, like I said, the comments scroll down, and I just start from there. The Saints can't stop me for 4 years. I drive them out. They needed a transfusion in 2017, a nosebleed. Thank you very much for your comment. Yeah, man, the defense of the New Orleans Saints were absolutely trash. You know, I just hope that we don't go back to those days. Impact is low rent, to say the least. WrestleMania week. Yeah, I'm excited about that, man. It's always excited to see WrestleMania, and now it's available on Peacock, you know, on the NBC affiliated app. So that ought to be interesting. What do you think about WrestleMania next Saturday? It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Do you think CM Punk will return to CM Punk's wife? I forgot AJ Lee was married to CM Punk. No, I don't think CM Punk is coming back. I think that CM Punk has bigger fish to fry. I don't see how CM Punk would fit into WrestleMania, agenda this year. I think that it's going to be a solid show. One, because this is the first time in over a year fans are going to be in the stands for a WWE event. I think that the talent is chomping at the bit to wrestle in front of an actual crowd. I think that you're going to see guys go out there and put on great performances. I like some of the matches that they put together. You got some guys that are solid in-ring performers like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Cesaro and Seth Rollins going up against one another. So it's going to be exciting to watch, man. Did you hear about the WWE WrestleMania predictions earlier today, TJ? No, I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't want to take away from the event. You know, no disrespect to all my wrestling podcasters out there, but I just think that they just try too hard, man, and they ruin the experience for a lot of people. You know, if you have that information, according to sources, such and such is going to win the title. Well, let me find out. You know, like, I just think that they just do so. Like, it's so crazy for you to go out here and search for different situations and then get mad at how things pan out, or you're not happy about it. Like, you're the one that searched for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the one that looked for it. So you look for all these inside scoops, and then you watch the event and it goes according to how it's playing and how you read it, and all of a sudden, this was horrible. Well, you already set yourself up to feel a certain way about it. You know, like, stop looking at the dirt sheets. I try not to, you know what I'm saying? Like, even like some of my best wrestling podcasters out there, you know, when I see that they're getting too, insider on me, I just turn, you know what I'm saying? I turn away. I fast forward until they're not talking about it anymore. I don't go out here and look for the stories. You know, I understand that social media like kind of spoils everything for everybody, because everybody just knows everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always got that one person that knows everything. Oh, that's not that person. Oh, it's not going to pan out that way. And they just ruin the experience. You know, I try to stay away from those folks. You know, I believe in excitement, like, shock me, wow me. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you read a book if you know how the ending is going to turn out? You know, if somebody just walks in and be like, what are you reading? Well, you'd be like, I don't know. I'm reading the Barack Obama memoir. Oh, yeah, man. Ain't it crazy how such and such happened at the end? What? You know what I'm saying? Let me close the book. Like, you already know anything that happens, you reading to this point is always going to lead up to what the person said to you. And I hate that. I'm not a fan of it. You know, I don't even try to do inside stuff. Like, if I'm bringing stuff to you all, you know what I'm saying, it's because, it probably already happened already. I'm not one of those guys that's, hitting up a whole bunch of news reporters. That's just going to happen. Is that going to happen just to be first? Like, I don't care about being first. I don't. You have individuals that as soon as something happens, they get behind the camera and be like, such and such happened, just to get those clicks and views. Sometimes, I like to, kind of, let things kind of sit there and let me figure out my thoughts. It's not always about being first. Hey, TJ, what quarterback prospect on day 2 or day 3 do you think, or do you like where the Saints are picking in the draft? I think that Sam Ehlinger would be a good fit for the New Orleans Saints. Number one, Sam Ehlinger Do I think that he's going to be a solid quarterback in the National Football League? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he going to be like an elite quarterback? I'm going to take that bet. Solid, yes. Elite, no. But he is a leader. I see Sam Ellinger years down the line being a head coach on somebody's team. He's a guy that's a leader. He's a guy that people listen to. His Texas teammates had nothing but positive things to say about him. I can remember him going out there, going up against LSU, going toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow and them. You know, and you know, I like Sam Ellinger's fire and passion a lot. And I think that he can be a contributor to this team. And I think he's a smart football player, especially like since, you know, he comes from a family that is, you know, football oriented. You know, I always give those type of guys the notch. I mean, Joe Burrow's dad was a former coach. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, these guys can listen to instructions and they don't take things so personal, and they have the chip on their shoulder. Yeah. Okay, my guy, you have football knowledge. Well, Mario, I appreciate that. Alice Marie, Alice Welch, 12 people on, 11. Let me see. Got to go. How you been the last couple of days? I've been all right, man. I've just been spending some time with the family. Enjoyed the weekend, man. I just took some time off to spend time with my wife and my son. You know, like it was a great weekend. You know, we had the first annual Jones family Easter egg hunt. You know, I created this Easter egg hunt, you know, at the house for my wife and son, and just enjoying them like go up and down the stairs and outside and stuff like that. And, you know, it was just a great experience, man. And sitting, having breakfast as a family, you know, reading the Bible, you know, it was great. You know what I'm saying? Telling my son the story of Jesus, you know, rising, you know, out of the tomb. So it was great moments, man. I just took some time off, you know, for the last couple of days. You know, I know normally I go maybe no more than a day or two, but I mean, I took a couple of days off, man, to spend time with my family, spend time with my wife, and, you know, just do some great things, you know. And man, I had a great weekend. Read a few more, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Oh yeah, what I didn't like about the weekend was Jackson State. Okay, I mean, that was just embarrassing, them losing to Southern like that. Not happy about that at all. Not happy, but I was happy that they played on the flagship ESPN station. I am just catching a pie, so I backed it up. Bobby is one of the toughest quarterbacks I ever had the privilege of watching. How many teeth has he lost and concussions? Yeah, he had quite a bit. He had quite a bit of concussions, and he was a tough guy, you know. And I know my grandmother is going to pass out when she realized he mentioned her name. Because my grandmother is a huge Bobby Hebert fan. Like, I can remember my grandmother, like, just cheering to the top of her lungs, jumping around, dancing, you know, when Bobby Hebert throws a touchdown or Bobby's trying to escape the pocket. Yeah, so that's probably the, you know, having Bobby Hebert was great on the show, but just knowing he mentioned my grandmother's name, I knew it's going to brighten the day. That meant a lot. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed talking to Bobby. You know, I'm glad he was on the show, and I could, you know, I'm glad that he enjoyed it. You know, I'm glad you all enjoyed it as well. And for those that probably just came on, it was at the beginning of the show, so check out the interview. Can't please everyone. Keep doing your thing. Who that? Well, look, that's one thing that kind of bothers me. You know, I am a people pleaser. I try to please everybody. I guess that's just the Leo in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people follow zodiac signs, like Leos have a tendency of trying to be people pleasers. You know, and you know, I don't know, man. You know, I guess, you know, sometimes you have to come to grips with the fact that no matter how you do things, people are never going to like everything that you do. And no matter how you carry yourself, everybody's not going to like you. And, you know, I guess I'm always trying to deal with the fact of why is that happening, you know, but, you know, I just understand you can't please everybody. But for those that are happy and satisfied with the show, I appreciate it. And, you know, and understand that even if their comment didn't get read, you know, I appreciate them being a part of the show. And, you know, what bothers me is when people feel like I show favoritism. They're the individuals that support this show. You know what I'm saying? They come on, they show up all the time. And, you know what I'm saying? You know, I have a lot of respect for them because they've been rolling with me for a long time. I mean, you know, there's no, you know, favoritism here. I'll take that back. There is a level of favoritism. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna say it. There's a level of favoritism because everybody, everybody did give the State of the Saints podcast a chance in the beginning. Yeah, I am about to go on a rant. They didn't give it a chance. You had people out here, like downplaying the show, barely watching it, not showing much, respect to the show or the work that we put towards. And there are individuals that been here in the beginning that really been holding it down, that support the show, that send information. Like I can't people talk about, you always reaching out to Jerry. Let me tell y'all something about Jerry Poole. No matter what I'm doing, I don't care if I'm doing this show, I don't care if I'm doing a wrestling show. Jerry sends me emails about ESPN stories that come out. Like Jerry always sending information and stuff like that. And he supports everything that I do. And Jerry was one of the 4 people when this show first started, he joined. Chosen. Chosen is another guy. Chemo is another guy. They've been rolling with this show for a while. So I do have, a certain level of love for those guys because they believed in this show from the beginning. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, don't believe in this show. And I appreciate for those that do. But I do have a level of those guys that, when they seen me, opening up the boxes, they came up in there and asked me, did I need some help? They didn't help. They didn't wait for, me to break down the boxes and put everything on the shelf and everything like that. They helped me put the stuff on the shelf. So I do have a level of respect for guys like that because they believed in me. I appreciate everybody that came along later that believe in the show and the progress and helping to push the show. But I'll be lying if I look. There's those certain people that that you always going to, have respect for and show love to because they believed in you before anybody else did. So I'm sorry, but I pray to everybody, Also my guy Josh, he's another guy. Damien is a guy that not only follows the State of the Saints podcast, but also follows the wrestling show as well. And you got people that hold me accountable. Like, when you gonna do a show? Like RJ Mason. Like people like Chanel. Like if I put out merchandise, first one to come, first one to buy a shirt, first one to buy merchandise. So I'm always gonna have love for people like that believe and invest in this show. And I got love, like I said, I got love for everybody, but there are certain people that I know for a fact care about the success, of this show. And they put the groundwork in just as much as I did. So I am going to have respect, and I am going to show some more love for those individuals. Straight up. Let's go ahead and read. I'm going to read one more. Jerry says, I really appreciate the shout out. Hey man, I'm just telling the truth, brother. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. And it's nothing personal. And Josh says, I'm one of TJ's favorite 4. Eat that. Yeah, I mean, he definitely one, one of the top 4, that's been there from the beginning. Like I said, Chosen has been here. Jerry has been here. Chemo has been here. RJ Mason has been here. Several others, that I've, Keen Arthur, there's another one. Those guys, like I got, Mario, is an individual that supports as well. So all of these people, help this show grow. So yes, I am going to have like a special place in my heart for those individuals because once again, they believed in me when others, it probably took them a little while to do so. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you all so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. And once again, the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscape.com. Manscape.com is the official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. Use that promo code State of Saints. That's all one word. State of Saints, lowercase letters, okay? State of Saints, lowercase letters, and you will save 20% off of your Manscaped purchase, no matter if you're spending $100 or $8. You will get 20% off. Also, once again, want to thank the Cajun Cannon and the Godfather of the Who Dat Nation, Bobby Hebert, for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast. For those that joined late, go ahead and hit that rewind button. Check out the interview. Thank you all so much for your time. Much love to you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?